I look for alkaline foods, alive foods, what I call water-rich foods. That means the water is still in them, the aliveness is still there, it's not all cooked out.
Enzymes are the life force of the food. When you cook anything over 118 degrees for 1 minute, it destroys all of the enzymes and most of the nutritional value of the food. Ergo, the saying, like David Wolfe, or the raw food lexicon, is that cooked food is poison, because it becomes something toxic for the body to deal with.
Microwave oven food is the worst. I mean, it is by far, our bodies do not recognize the structure of the proteins that the food is changed to. There's no digestive enzymes produced because you don't smell the food, you don't see the food. So cooked foods really take on a very destructive, but they're also extremely acidic and extremely addictive. So once you start eating cooked foods, you want more and more and more. And to break the cycle, you really need to do a detox or a cleanse. It really is very beneficial in helping to break that cycle of craving the cooked foods.
When you have the food in its raw condition, you have more nutrients present, you have more vitamin C, you have more minerals that are available, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
To be in good health, we want to eat a diet that's higher in nutrients and lower in calories. That means you have to eat foods that are largely high nutrient, low calorie foods. Well, the foods that are highest in nutrients are green vegetables, tomatoes, berries, oranges, carrots, and you're going to get a diet higher in fiber, higher in high nutrients, higher in phytochemicals, right? It's automatically not going to be acid forming. It's going to take all those features that each fad diet looks at are all put together when you eat a diet that's very nutrient dense.
What we've unveiled in our research is that there are 4 major components in raw living food that make them viable for healing and prevention of disease. First are hormones, second is oxygen, third is phytonutrients, and fourth is enzymes. Here we've coined the phrase hope. It's a new era of nutritional hope, and that's why living food is superior, and it makes you live longer as well as prevent and eliminate disorder.
I mean, think about pharmaceuticals for a moment. They are one isolated chemical extract, a synthesized chemical, usually something that never appears in nature and certainly doesn't appear in that concentration and in that isolation. Pharmaceuticals then become like poisons to the human body, and the side effects that you see are just the effects of the poison. But in nature, you never see a chemical isolated like that. In a plant, you might have hundreds of different phytochemicals. I mean, consider the natural medicines that are really in raw foods. These are the medicines synthesized by nature. They're like little plant-based pharmaceuticals, but they're built by Mother Nature, not by some pharmaceutical laboratory. Well, these are naturally biocompatible with the human body. So when you take those in, you get healthy because the plant actually built those medicines to keep itself healthy. And they all work in concert. There's a synergistic healing effect of those nutrients. You don't get that from a drug, but you do get that when you eat raw foods or you drink a raw food smoothie. You get those hundreds of different nutrients working in concert to heal your body and to essentially activate that healing potential that's built into your body.
Working with hundreds of thousands of people now, we've developed a quite keen understanding on what makes the anatomy of the body function and the immune system protect you. We've seen thousands, tens of thousands of people recover from catastrophic disease, and it primarily comes on a dietary level from a green food diet, with either the total elimination or short-term elimination of all fruits, and a lot of nutrition from sprouts. Sprouts are 10 to 30 times more nutritious than the best organic vegetable that you pick, wash, and eat. An average sprout like clover is 10 times more nutritious. Something like wheatgrass or sunflower greens, 30 times more nutritious.
One of the leaders in the raw food movement is Victoria Botango. Her family's recovery from multiple illnesses is a nutritional success story.
As you probably know, my family became ill about 14 years ago. Everybody in my family became so ill that the doctors told us we don't have any hope, and I will soon die, my husband will soon die, and our children will be miserable. And I was only 38 years old, and I didn't want to die, and I didn't want my children to be miserable. So I decided to look for alternative. And I was searching and searching and searching, and I didn't give up, and finally I discovered raw food. And within 3.5 months, my family ran 10-kilometer race, Boulder. And we were feeling better and better and better. About 7 years into raw food diet, we reached the plateau. When everybody in my family stopped feeling better and better and better, we actually stopped improving. And then several months later, we started to feel backwards. We started to develop some unwanted symptoms of not perfect health. Everybody in my family developed at least one wart, which is a symptom of low immunity. And I was thinking, how in the world we're on a raw food diet that got us rid of all these horrible illnesses, how in the world we could have low immunity? It's impossible. Now we're eating better than 7 years ago, because we now eat all organic, mostly local, and we now know things like food combining. I decided that I need to figure out what's going on, what's missing. So I wrote a letter and sent it to all raw food experts that I knew about in the world. And I got answers from almost everybody saying, yes, only we reached the plateau much sooner than you did. Then I asked them next question, so what do you do? One person say, I now drink goat's milk. Another person says, I add 20% cooked food to my diet. Another person says, I add this and this supplement. And all of them saying different things. Then I sent them again a letter saying, well, does it work for you? And everybody responded, not really. We are actually yo-yoing back and forth, still looking for solution. We still didn't find our balance. That something was missing. It's like it was a puzzle that didn't make no sense. I knew that in my family, that was a raw food diet that helped us to get rid of our illnesses. And now it was the same diet, even better, but now we were feeling less healthy. We did not get asthma back, or we did not get our sicknesses better, but it was still not perfect. I decided I have to make my own research, because I like puzzles. I always have collections of puzzles in my home. So what I did, first I made a list of USDA recommended nutrition that humans have to consume in order to be healthy. Then I listed all the foods that exist in the world, including meats and dairy, everything. I wanted to be objective. And then I started to play around with this nutritional compounds, trying to create what would be the variations of perfect human diet that will satisfy human nutritional needs. And I suddenly discovered that there was really not so much food that is very healthy. Most of the foods have something one, something two, and then everything else is missing. Like, for example, meats have complex proteins, but it has 0 vitamin C, 0 fiber, 0 antioxidants, just really nothing else. And that was like this until I found one food that was different. When I found this food, it appeared that it's like a puzzle, fitting human nutritional needs perfectly. It was like, wow, and that was greens. The greens, they match human nutrition so perfectly. They have in them absolutely everything we need except one thing, except the vitamin B12. Everything else is in there. Essential vitamins. These are vitamins that our body needs to be healthy. Greens have all of them. That's what we need to have. That's what kale has. That's what the weeds have. Essential minerals. That's what we need to have. That's what kale has. That's what the weeds have. Essential amino acids. That's what we need to have. That's what weeds have. That's what we need to have. That's what kale has. For comparison, I placed here apples. Apples and carrots have approximately similar content of essential amino acids. And that explains, if you look at here, apples have some protein, but not a lot. And it explains why the vegetables and fruits are considered generally not really great source of amino acids, because they were not considering greens as a really source, because greens are not very popular. Not many people eat greens. If you look at greens, the numbers, the digits are the same or bigger. Like here we have 3 digits, here we have 3 and 4 digits. In apples we have 2 or 1 digits. So we see there is a big difference. And essential fatty acids. So greens have absolutely everything. And yes, most experts in nutrition in the world say you need to eat dark green vegetables. But nobody says how much. Nobody says you need to have 5 cups a day, you need to have 10 cups a day, you need to have 1 cup a day. All they say is the more you can, as much as you can. Then I decided to look in the animal kingdom and to find an animal that is the closest to humans and see what these animals eat. And I discovered chimpanzee, because chimpanzees share with humans 99.4 the same sequences of genes. I made this diagram that shows that chimpanzees consume half of their diet of fruits, and the other almost complete half are greens. So chimpanzees consume a lot of greens, and they also consume some seeds and some bark, and they consume a little bit of insects. Then I made a chart of a typical American diet, and can you find 2 differences in between these 2 charts? They're quite different. They're like opposite. This is nutritious food, low calorie, nutritious. This is high calorie, low nutrition.